This is very powerful, man. I don't even know what to say. This is the greatest achievers and contributors to the African continent. This is greatness, man. This is greatness. This makes us proud as Africans. I'm here at the Museum of Black Civilization here in Dakar, Senegal. So this is very powerful. So this is inspiring. I'm inspired. I see here the greatest Serena Williams is shot. They must put Serena Williams here, 23 Grand Slams, one of the greatest tennis players of all times. So here's the greatest Formula One race driver, man, Lewis Hamilton. He's the greatest Usain Bolt, man. The greatest sprinter in the world. This is George Floyd. Now this is the greatest basketball history has ever produced, Michael Jordan. Now here, this is the only African player to win a Ballon d'Or, George Weah. Now here, this is Barack, man. This is what I always say, that I never thought in my lifetime I'll see this happening. A black man becoming the president of the United States. I never thought I'll see this in my lifetime. It's Paul Kagame, the president of Rwanda. He's actually moving Rwanda forward. He has done marvels for the country. Now here we talk the greatest, Isadora Noel Thomas Sankara. I like one of his powerful quotations, man. When he said, "We rather have clean water for all than champagne for the few." So this is one man who hated corruption with a passion. Unfortunately, young people in Africa are not aware and they're not taught about him. He hated corruption with a passion. I actually had a powerful interview with one professor in Burkina Faso who knows him personally. That professor said to me, Captain Thomas Sankara hated corruption so much that he could even arrest his own family if they were involved in corruption. I'm hoping one day we'll make a documentary where young Africans will know about him. By the way, I'm commenting the only ones that I know about and know their history. Now this is Ali, man. This is the greatest, Muhammad Ali. If you had asked me who's one sports personality who I can actually describe as the greatest of all time, without thinking twice, I can tell it's Ali. Because for me, he represented beyond sport. He fought for his beliefs to a level where America wanted him to send him to Vietnam to go and fight. He said, "Why would I go and fight people who did not do anything to me?" So he was standing strong in his convictions to say, "This is what I believe in. I'm a peaceful man as an African. I do not believe in a war." This is the greatest, Muhammad Ali. So this is Pele, man. He's done wonders for Brazil. He played very nicely, did wonders for Brazil. The greatest, Pele. This now touches my heart now. This is our mother from Africa du Sud. This is from South Africa. This is 𝐄𝐍𝐉𝐎𝐾, our mother. Fought the fought apartheid regime through his music up until she moved to become a refugee in Guinea-Conakry. I believe she was given just a refugee status to stay in Guinea-Conakry, moving away from South Africa. 𝐄𝐍𝐉𝐴𝐾. He's the greatest, Martin Luther King. I don't have much to say about him, but obviously he led the civil rights movement in America to bring awareness to the world about the injustices that African Americans were facing in the United States. Here is a black thought leader, Frantz Fanon. By the way, I still need to read this book, but I understand that he was basically preaching black consciousness. To say, black man, you must understand who you are. Black man, you must be conscious of who you are. You are an original man. We're a complete person. You are not short of anything. You do not need anyone to validate you. Here's the greatest, Malcolm X. Here, this one was preaching militancy. There's a powerful saying or quotation from him that says, "The media can make you hate people who are telling you the truth and make you love people who are lying to you." That's a very powerful quote from Martin Luther King. To say in this day and age, we have this mainstream media that is actually talking bad about people. And as a thinker, as a critical thinker, as an independent thinker, don't just take anything that the media is telling you. Listen, analyze everything that is being said. Because if you are not careful, TV, mainstream newspapers will end up making you to hate people that are fighting for you and make you like people that are actually not fighting for you, but fighting for other people's interests. So that's the greatness of this man, Malcolm X. Now here's an African revolutionary from the Congo, the great Patrice Lumumba. There's a very powerful quote from him that I always refer to, man. The quote that says, "The minerals of the Congo belongs to the people of the Congo." I believe that's one statement, because that's actually the foundation of his thinking. That's one statement that made him to be public enemy number one. A simple fact: the minerals of the Congo belongs to the people of the Congo. The people of the Congo must be the ones who benefit first from the minerals under their feet more than anybody else. That's what Lumumba was basically preaching. Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere. By the way, many people are not aware that Mwalimu basically means teacher in Swahili. I always thought that maybe Mwalimu was his name. So in fact, actually Mwalimu means teacher Nyerere because he was a teacher. He's trained as a teacher. There's the title that they always use when they refer to him. They call him the father of African socialism. So basically the great Julius Nyerere was preaching that before you think of going outside to go and help any other nationalities, before you think about other people, firstly the priority is to take care of your community, to take care of your village. That's why he was actually insulted or actually denigrated or actually preaching that each and every household must strive to have a small holding where they are farming their own food. You must have a small farming holding at the back of your house where you are taking care of your family by farming your own food. That way, you are creating your own food. Before anybody can actually try to influence you to control you, they'll find you in a position where you're already controlling what you eat by having your own small holding. He decided to do that as a community, as a village, ultimately as a city, ultimately as a country. That way, you are independent from having a foreign country supplying you with food. So that's something very powerful that came from him. Now, this is the greatest 𝐵𝐘𝐒 Touré. By the way, 𝐵𝐘𝐒 Touré, I believe, is the first independent president of Guinea. So this is the man that actually led Guinea to be the first country to be liberated from France. I had a very powerful and painful story, by the way. That after he led Guinea-Conakry to be liberated, the French were so angry at him that they decided to destroy everything that country, all the investments. Everything that they built in Guinea-Conakry, they decided to destroy it. The aim was very simple, to set an example to other neighboring countries, to say to them, don't try and do what 𝐵𝐘𝐒 Touré is doing in Guinea. We are punishing him to scare other countries nearby, not to ever try and do that. Here's another myth, I don't know if that is true now. But the French destroyed everything. They also actually took even the electrical power lines that they could not load in ships to take to France. They took everything, removed electrical power lines, and threw them into the sea. This now touches my heart because this is from my country now. It's the great Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela. By the way, just to give a simple fact, this is the only person in the world that during his funeral, more than 120 presidents attended from all over the world. So this just shows you how powerful the man has impacted humanity. By the way, another fact, during his funeral, it was the first time in 40 years that the president of America, Barack Obama, shook hands with the president of Cuba, Raul Castro. So this is Madiba, man. This is the man that also had a very powerful saying that I like a lot. That he was speaking about education. He said it is because of education that the son of a miner can become the head of the mine. Basically preaching the importance of education, that a mine worker with no formal education, by schooling his children, the children can become the head or the CEO of the mine. That's my diva, Here now I also talk the great Molimo Keita. I believe this is the first president of independent Mali. There's one powerful quotation I like from him, where he says, If you vote for a thief and that thief steals, it is not that thief's fault. It is your fault as a voter. A simple translation. How can you blame the snake for biting you? The snake is just living its natural form. It's just being itself. So if you vote for a thief and the thief steals, that thief is just being itself. It's being a thief. Its natural default position is to steal. So if you vote for people that are going to steal from you, don't be surprised when they're doing what they're doing, because that's who they are. So it means it is your fault as the voter. You voted for them knowing very well that these people are thieves. It's Walter Sisulu. By the way, for those who don't know, he's the man that recruited Nelson Mandela to become a member of the ANC. They were working together, practicing as lawyers. He's the one who recruited Nelson Mandela to become the president, to become a member of the African National Congress. Now, this is the man here that is known as the father of Pan-Africanism. By the way, he was influenced by a man called Webb Du Bois when he went to study in America. This is Kwame Nkrumah. He's the man who has a very powerful quote when he was actually being asked to choose between supporting America or supporting the West and supporting the East, the Soviet Union, during the Cold War. When they pushed him in a corner to decide which bloc he was supporting, he said something very powerful. He said, as Ghana or as Africa, because this man basically was representing the African continent. He said, as Africa, we're looking neither east nor west, we're looking forward. In other words, don't tell us who are we supporting between Russia or America. We are being ourselves. We have a right to determine who we need at a particular time to help us with whatever mission we're working on at that time. Meaning there's no person who has a right to say Africa must support Russia or Africa must support America. Africa must decide who they want to support at what time, depending on whether both parties are mutually benefiting from that relationship. So that's very powerful coming from the great man, the father of Pan-Africanism, Kwame Nkrumah. So he is the first president of Kenya after independence. Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. I don't really know much about him. So yeah, this is the man that is actually known or nicknamed His Imperial Majesty. When they actually praise him, they call him the King of Kings, Ngusi Nigasi. This is Haile Selassie. So this is the man that was leading Ethiopia. This is the man that fought the war against Italy. The war against Italy was led by a president called Mussolini. Hence, that's why Ethiopia, it is the only African country that was never colonized. As I'm talking to you currently, they are still speaking their own native language called Amharic. So if you go to Ethiopia, if you arrive in Addis Ababa, they don't speak English, they don't speak French. They speak their own language called Amharic. So in fact, if you're in Ethiopia and you can't speak English properly, or you try to speak them in English, they will laugh at you because they are proud of speaking their own native language, Amharic. So like I said, this man is the man who led the only African country that was never colonized. This Haile Selassie. Now this is a great man as well. He's called Marcus Mosiah Garvey. So this is the man actually who was pushing that all Africans must return to Africa. He even owned a shipping company called Black Star. By the way, for people who are not aware, the flag of Ghana, that Black Star on the flag of Ghana was actually inspired by the name of his company, Black Star Shipping Company. So this man actually, he is the one who came up with a very powerful prophecy. I can't remember the year, it could have been somewhere around 1913. This is the man who once said, "Look thee into Africa, for a king shall be born. That man will be called the King of Kings, the Lion King of Judah." This is Marcus Mosiah Garvey. So for people who are not aware, when he said those words, many people thought he was referring to Haile Selassie. When he said, "Look thee into Africa, for a king shall be born. That king will be called the King of Kings, the great Lion King of Judah." I am aware who he was referring to. It's a story for another day.